an American newspaper says, oh, it's not safe to come to India. I mean, look at what's happening in the US. A 6-year-old shot his teachers. हम तो 6 साल के बच्चे को चाकू नहीं देते, उन्होंने बंदूक दे दी. So, I'm sorry, before you talk about how safe it is to travel to India, look at what's happening in the US. We are not the kind of nation, it is not in our strategic culture to intervene. I think the West has given itself the right to intervene everywhere and then justify. They created the United Nations. Then when it does not suit them, they don't even need the UN sanction.
Social media hates news channels and news. Do you agree with this or no?
People are smart.
तो कभी ऐसा होता है that the base information is different and उसमें मसाला ऐड कर देते हैं और फिर आगे बताते हैं ताकि news becomes much more. आज का फिगरिंग आउट का पॉडकास्ट इज अबाउट डर्टी रियलिटी ऑफ इंडियन मीडिया. हमने एक बहुत ही सीनियर मीडिया एग्जीक्यूटिव से ये समझने की कोशिश करी कि इंडियन मीडिया कैसे मसाला डालती है ताकि हम और आप कंज्यूम करें किसी भी हद तक जाकर. उसमें कितने फैक्ट्स ट्विस्ट होते हैं, कितनी सारी चीज़ों को तोड़ मरोड़ कर दिखाया जाता है. पर उनका बोलना ये है कि ये सब इसलिए किया जाता है बिकॉज कंज्यूमर को यही देखना है. तो वो बोलते हैं कि हम लोग बेटर कंटेंट कंज्यूम करना नहीं चाहते, इसकी वजह से मीडिया अपने आप को फोर्स करती है टेढ़े मेढ़े फैक्ट दिखाकर मसाला डालकर हमको दिखाने के लिए. तो कैसे एक न्यूज़ मैन्युफैक्चर होती है, उस न्यूज़ का क्या इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है जनरेशन पे, उसको हम कैसे चेंज कर सकते हैं, एंड सो मेनी मोर थिंग्स अबाउट सॉफ्ट पावर इन इंडिया एंड हमारे रिलेशनशिप्स विद चाइना, श्रीलंका, अमेरिका, इन सब के बारे में हमने बात करी है आज के पॉडकास्ट पे. प्लीज़ इन्जॉय टुडेज शो विथ आवर गेस्ट पालकी शर्मा. एंड अगर आपको बहुत सारी अनफिल्टर्ड क्लिप्स देखनी है जो इस पॉडकास्ट में नहीं है और बहुत कम समय में एक स्मार्ट लीडर बनना है, तो राज शमानी क्लिप्स एंड राज शमानी शॉर्ट्स चैनल जाके सब्सक्राइब कर लो, क्योंकि वहाँ पे हम बहुत ही ज़्यादा अनफिल्टर्ड कंटेंट डालते हैं आपके लिए. एन्जॉय टुडेज शो. Walk me through your journey now. Like, just tell me, how did you start college का? You were telling me कि second year में किसी ने आके offer कर दिया. क्या आया, किसने offer किया, कैसे था? Like, tell me, walk through that.
Yeah. Okay. So, there are a lot of smart young kids these days who know exactly what they want to be at the age of 12. I was not one of them.
Okay.
I was pretty clueless. I thought I'm very good at so many things that I'm spoiled for choice, and I did not make it to any of these competitive exams. My father, though, believed that I could just, like any middle class family, doctor ban jao, nahi to administrative services ki tayari karo, whatever. But so I took up English finally.
Okay.
And I used to write for the local newspapers and just go and compare in random events, be part of all sorts of things. So someone asked me if I wanted to do a show for Doordarshan, a weekly news magazine.
Okay, randomly somebody asked.
Randomly. I was at some event, and then after the event got over, they said, आपने बहुत अच्छा बोला और इतना पैसा मिलेगा, मेरे ख्याल से 800 रुपये या कुछ तो था.
Okay.
तो उसमें मुझे क्या करना होगा? कुछ नहीं करना है, आपको आना है और हम आपको लिख के देंगे, वो आपको पढ़ के बोलना है. That's easy. I asked my parents. So they asked me कहाँ जाना है, क्यों जाना है, कितने बजे जाना है, all sorts of questions. But finally they said, okay, it doesn't sound so bad. So I went there. और अब तो टेलीप्रॉम्प्टर होता है, उनके पास नहीं था.
Okay.
तो एक कैमरा है और कैमरा के नीचे एक A4 साइज शीट में बड़ा बड़ा प्रिंट करके किसी ने पकड़ा हुआ है.
अच्छा.
Or you have to read it. And while I'm from Rajasthan and my mother tongue is Hindi and Marwadi, and I'm supposed to be well versed, obviously, but nobody uses that Hindi like
extreme Hindi.
Matlab it was I made so many mistakes. So I think the first few instances I thought they're going to tell me कि ये लो अपने 800 रुपये जाओ, वापस मत आना क्योंकि तुमसे बोला नहीं जा रहा. But they were very patient, and so we started with that. And who doesn't like money? I mean, when you're young and you're always cash strapped. So.
And how did you apply in Hindustan Times?
I just got somebody's number. I called them. I've always done this thing. I would just pick up the phone. Why beat about the bush? You want something, you would just go and ask. ज़्यादा मना करेगा कोई? I said I want to write something on. I don't even remember what I wrote about. अब बस ये छाप दो, पैसे भी मत दो. So they took it. But they did not publish it. I kept trying, so they finally gave me something to write.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
तो अब हम लोग ये करने वाले हैं, ये पॉडकास्ट हम लोग 15 मिनट पहले ख़त्म करेंगे. I'll take a list of numbers which I want and मैं फिर उनको रोज कॉल करूँगा, देखो कर दो यार, प्लीज़ कर दो. No, I've been a huge follower of cold calling, cold emailing since the beginning.
दूसरी बात ये है कि see, I don't come from a family where my parents could call up people and say इसको रख लो यहाँ पे. So you have to get by whichever way you can, right? You have to figure out your own thing. And I did not know any other journalist. So my best chance was to go and apply and say, see, this is what I have. Does it work for you?
Got it. So then you went to Hindustan Times.
Yeah.
And then after Hindustan Times, you went to...
Yeah, so I was still doing something with Doordarshan then. तब तक दूरदर्शन ने एक कुछ नया शुरू किया था, राज्यों से समाचार. तो एक छोटा सा बुलेटिन होता था.
Okay.
10 मिनट का.
Okay.
तो वो मैं करती थी राजस्थान से. और तब तक मैंने पोस्ट ग्रेजुएशन भी कर लिया and then I applied to a lot of places. Then I got a job. Okay,
तो ये सब everything you did till now was by side college के side. This was side hustles for you.
Yeah, sort of.
All sort of side hustle. This is, and primary motive was money.
Money and exposure, and you had to do something, like you have to make something of yourself. So I studied English. I also studied design. I thought I'll be a textile designer.
Okay.
But it did not go very like.
What happened to that?
There used to be a 2-year course. Then by the time I was in second year, they made it a 5-year course. And I thought I don't have another 5 years to study how to weave fabric. And it just didn't fall in place. You know, maybe there's more exposure now. Maybe there's better guidance. Back in the day, if you've not made it to these 2 or 3 places, yeah, MBA कर लो, engineering कर लो, medical कर लो. उसके अलावा अगर आप कुछ कर रहे हो तो you are on your own.
Okay.
You know, nobody's telling you how to go about your life. और कुछ नहीं, शादी कर दो. वो भी मतलब I think in tier 2 cities
it's
that's
still
also
अभी भी है.
Yeah.
Mostly it's there.
So I just wanted to make something of myself, and I thought whatever comes my way, I'll do it.
Fair. So now, you just talked about one thing कि पहले ना ऐसे options होते थे कि engineering कर लो या डॉक्टर बन जाओ या IAS, IPS वाली फील्ड में चले जाओ, नहीं तो ज़्यादा कुछ स्कोप नहीं. अब बहुत सारे हैं, right? अभी बहुत everybody can choose whatever they want to become. Still, I see कि number of people जिनको journalism enter करना है या इस industry में enter करना है, वो बहुत drop होते जा रहा है. It's reducing year by year. तो ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? Like, why people don't fascinate this anymore?
Because people are smarter. I think
Why do you say so?
I say so because, see, journalism is a calling. It's not a job. It cannot be a profession. It's you have to be slightly crazy to pursue the same thing, and your pay scales in journalism are abysmally poor.
Okay.
And we have every year when we hire people, I see some very good talent come in. और 6-8 महीने में वो disillusionment शुरू हो जाता है. After that, adrenaline rush becomes a daily thing. You know, initially it's very exciting. There's a big newsroom. Things are moving fast. Stories are developing. And you're always pressed against time. So it's quite exciting for a young person. But then you realize that you never have your weekends off.
Yeah.
That you can never go on the holidays that your cousins can go because they did an MBA and you did not. So all of those things, I think, and people are very transactional and very smart and very much more calculated than they were, I think, in my generation. And it's growing by the day. I mean, if you ask my parents, they would say my generation is too sort of focused. So अब लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है कि it's not worth it unless you are really like into it and you really enjoy it for what it is. So the fruits of your labor come very late in life if you're a journalist. Yeah.
But I think apart from that, it's also that it's just I'm saying from the perspective of social media, right? People have kind of like lost respect for how the journalism has been perceived in the country or how the news channels. I think more than that, the trust which people had, now it's no more there. मतलब अब लोग I think YouTubers को ज़्यादा trust करते than a news channel, and which आई थिंक शुड बी ऑपोजिट, पर स्टिल ऐसे होता है कि लाइक पीपल ट्रस्ट देम मोर और न्यूज़ चैनल्स को ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट नहीं करते, जर्नलिस्ट को ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट नहीं करते. तो ऐसे क्यों हो रहा है? लाइक व्हाई डू यू फील दैट दिस इज गोइंग ऑन? कि द चार्म इज डाइंग बिकॉज नोबडी वांट्स टू बिकम दैट नाउ, क्योंकि किसी को ट्रस्ट ही नहीं है और किसी को इट डजंट लुक लाइक अ वेरी फैंसी करियर.
It is quite a good career.
Okay.
if you enjoy storytelling, if you enjoy the thrill of chasing news, it's fascinating. Then you can't go back to a day job where you have to push the same file every day, or it's very exciting. But I'll tell you, see, when if you look at India, journalism के शुरुआती समय में, जब independence के समय, there was this moral purpose, right? कि आप अंग्रेज़ों के खिलाफ लिख रहे हैं, मतलब एक महानता थी. उसके बाद वो झोला छाप जर्नलिज्म फेज था, वो हमेशा क्रांतिकारी फेज में रहे, है ना. तो उसको लोगों को लगता है कि बहुत रिस्पेक्टेबल है ये, पीपल आर, बट जर्नलिस्ट ऑल्सो हैव टू पे EMIs. दे कांट ऑलवेज बी पुअर, राइट? दे कांट ऑलवेज बी वेयरिंग चप्पल्स.
But they've always been shown as कि जो बड़ा journalist है वो झोला लेके चप्पल भी घूम रहा है.
Like netas are also changing. You know, there was a time when they wore dhoti kurta, then now someone's walking in a t-shirt. People are changing, right? So journalists are also changing. Plus, there is an explosion of media. There was a time when they were the only ones connecting you to those in power. They were bringing you the news because you had no other source of news. But today, sources of information are so many that you don't need that messenger. You need that person either to verify or to give context or to explain कि अगर फलाने ने ये कहा है तो क्यों कहा है, उसका क्या मतलब है, और आपका जीवन इससे कैसे प्रभावित हो सकता है, right?
Yeah.
So unless you're doing that and delivering on those counts, if you're doing breaking news saying Joe Biden has tweeted this, तो उस ब्रेकिंग न्यूज़ की कोई मायने नहीं, क्योंकि मैं खुद ही ट्विटर पे जाके देख लूँगी. उसमें मुझे आपकी ज़रूरत नहीं है.
एग्जैक्टली.
तो इसलिए क्रेडिबिलिटी की क्राइसिस है.
सो यू फील कि क्रेडिबिलिटी, लाइक जो भी न्यूज़ रीडर है, अभी जो भी न्यूज़ शो है, दे शुड टॉक अबाउट व्हाट्स गोइंग ऑन, हाउ दिस इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट एंड व्हाई डज इट मैटर टू मी. ये होना ज़रूरी है.
आई थिंक कॉन्टेक्स्ट देना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
ओके.
आई थिंक खाली इवेंट्स चेज करने से आपका जो पूरा मॉडल है वो थोड़ा हॉलो हो गया है, कि आज हम क्या करेंगे, आज हम ट्रैक करेंगे ये रथ यात्रा यहाँ से यहाँ जा रही है. फिर उसमें अगर 200 लोग होंगे तो उसमें 20 लोगों का हम घूम घूम के बाइट लेंगे. आप बताइए कैसा लग रहा है, आप बताइए कैसा लग रहा है, गर्मी लग रही है, सर्दी लग रही है, आपको लगता है कुछ चेंज. व्हाट इज दिस? How is this great content?
Yeah.
And how can you expect people to watch it day after day after day?
ये न्यूज़ मैन्युफैक्चर कैसे होती है? Like what's the scene? क्या होता कैसे? न्यूज़ बनती कैसे? Like do you guys have your people on ground जो spot करते हैं और आप लोगों को सबसे पहले बुलाते हैं? Like क्या scene होता है? Like guide me through scratch and then we get to the good and the bad part.
Okay, how is a news bulletin put together?
Yes,
there are many parts to it. एक तो आपके रिपोर्टर्स होते हैं जो आपको बताते हैं कि यहाँ ये हो रहा है, या
तो रिपोर्टर्स का नेटवर्क मतलब कैसे हो? लाइक यू नो इट्स आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू थिंक अबाउट इट, मे बी इट्स एन ओपन इन्फॉर्मेशन आउट देयर एंड आई डोंट नो, आई एम बीइंग अ किड अबाउट इट, बट मुझे नहीं पता. आई ऑलवेज यूज्ड टू फैंसी कि पूरे इंडिया में क्या चल रहा है, पूरी दुनिया में क्या चल रहा है, एक न्यूज़ चैनल को सबसे पहले पता चल जाता है और उनसे हमें पता चलता है.
तो रिपोर्टर्स क्या होते हैं? रिपोर्टर्स अपने कॉन्टैक्ट्स बनाते हैं. जैसे अगर आप क्राइम रिपोर्टर हैं,
ओके,
अगर आप बम्बई में क्राइम रिपोर्टर, क्राइम कवर करते हैं, तो आपका ये काम है कि आप पुलिस में और क्राइम से संबंधित जितने भी लोग हैं उनसे आप एक रिलेशनशिप बनाएं. अगर कोई बड़ा केस होता है, कुछ होता है, प्रेस रिलीज आती है, इन्फॉर्मेशन आती है, तो वो वहाँ से आती है.
ओके.
अगर मेरे पास इन्फॉर्मेशन है और मैं अपने रिपोर्टर को फ़ोन करूँ कि ऐसा मुझे पता चला है, तो रिपोर्टर अपने सोर्स से पता करेगा कि ये सही है कि नहीं.
ओके.
That is verification.
Oh, got it.
Right? So that is how reporters do it. But reporters are also humans. They can't be everywhere all the time. Right? So then the second part of it is agencies. Like a Reuters or an AFP or an ANI. So agencies also have their people, their cameras, their news inputs, PTI. They feed us for a fee. But that is not our original story. So for instance, if अगर किसी नेता ने कहीं कोई भाषण दिया है, मेरा रिपोर्टर वहाँ नहीं जा पाया, पर किसी एजेंसी का कैमरा था वहाँ, तो वो इनपुट मुझे मिल गया.
Got it.
पर उसको क्या करना है, और so that is these are the raw materials. Then it goes into the kitchen of the news.
Okay.
Right?
The kitchen is where you get part, like you part, or you participate, or the team below you participates?
I participate in everything. All of us participate in everything.
Achha.
News is a very complicated thing. One ball bearing drops and the entire story goes haywire.
ठीक है.
So everyone has to know.
So kitchen में जाता है then?
So kitchen में वो देखते हैं तस्वीरें कैसी हैं, बाइट क्या है, क्या बोला है, इसमें पहले क्या बोला था, उससे क्या डिफरेंस है, हम इसको कैसे, क्या ये इतना बड़ा स्टेटमेंट है कि हम इस पे पूरा एक शो बनाएं, या सिर्फ एक 4 मिनट की स्टोरी बनाएं, या सिर्फ साउंड बाइट चला के छोड़ दें, या सिर्फ टिकर पे चला के छोड़ दें. ठीक है, ये डिसीजन होता है. उसके बाद एक टीम होती है जो, आप तो यू डील इन वीडियोज, यू वुड नो दैट समबडी इज डूइंग अ वीडियो एडिटिंग जॉब, देयर इज अ ग्राफिक्स पर्सन हु इज एडिंग द ग्राफिक्स टू इट, देयर इज अ प्रोडक्शन कंट्रोल रूम that looks at what is come, and they talk to the anchor, they talk to the reporter. So that's how things build up. And
ये बेस हो गया. Okay. Now बहुत बार ऐसा होता है कि there are certain news जिसको बहुत ज़्यादा highlight करके दिखाते हैं, बहुत ज़्यादा just to get more TRP, just to get more views. तो वो कैसे, like what is that scene? How do you know that इसको तो मैं ही दिखाऊंगी या मैं ही दिखाऊंगा और मैं किसी को नहीं दिखाने दूंगा, ऐसे क्या होता है?
नहीं, you have an editorial meeting. I think you have multiple editorial meetings. एक सुबह होती है, एक दोपहर को होती है, एक शाम को होती है. अमूमन ऐसे होता है सब चैनल्स में. तो उसमें जो एडिटर होते हैं और सब लोग अपनी पिच करते हैं स्टोरीज़ कि आज ये हुआ है, ये भी कर सकते हैं. स्पोर्ट्स वाले अपने बताते हैं, एंटरटेनमेंट वाले अपना बताते हैं. सब लोग कुछ, कोई एक्सक्लूसिव है क्या, किसी रिपोर्टर ने कुछ पता किया है, कोई इंटरव्यू मिला है हमें, या कोई आज बड़ी घटना होने वाली है जिसको हमें कवर करना है. सो वो डिस्कशन होता है और उसमें फिर आपसी बातचीत करके तय करते हैं कि व्हाट इज़ आवर बिग स्टोरी और व्हाट आर आवर बिग स्टोरीज फॉर टुडे, द वंस दैट वी हैव टू.
तो कभी ऐसा होता है दैट द बेस इन्फॉर्मेशन इज डिफरेंट एंड उसमें मसाला ऐड कर देते हैं और फिर आगे बताते हैं ताकि न्यूज़ बिकम्स मच मोर?
आई एम श्योर ऐसा होता है. उसमें क्या है कि उसमें फ़र्क ये होता है कि आपकी टीम कितनी एम्पावर्ड है.
ओके.
तो कुछ संस्थाएं ऐसी होती हैं जहाँ एक व्यक्ति या कुछ लोग इतने ओवरबेयरिंग होते हैं कि वो कहते हैं मुझे इसको ऐसे ही करना है, और इवन इफ ही वाज वेयरिंग अ रेड शर्ट आई विल से इट वाज ब्लू एंड इट इज़ ब्लू, and everywhere we have to write it is blue. I'm just giving an extreme example.
Got it.
Right? And everyone falls like in line with that. And then there are organizations, at least the teams that I've worked with, they shoot down everything. I don't agree with this. मुझे नहीं लगता ऐसे बोलना चाहिए, पर उसने तो ऐसे कहा था, ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते. ऐसा भी हुआ है कि किसी ने कह दिया कि ठीक है आपको ये करनी है स्टोरी, तो मैं नहीं लिखूंगा. I don't agree with it. But I think it's important to build this second culture. Because these people save you from embarrassment and from making a complete fool of yourself later. So they're not always right. Nobody is always right. But when in a team people have the freedom to voice their opinion freely, then you build a good team. So a newsroom without disagreement and debate is a bad newsroom, to answer your question.
But it's, I mean, if you look at now, at least on social media hates news channels and news. Like, it's just, hate is like a strong word, but dislikes. Because they feel कि freely वहाँ पे कोई भी voice out नहीं कर सकता अपने opinions. Maybe it's because they want more views. Maybe it's because they are corrupted by certain powers or forces. Maybe it's a political reason. इसकी वजह से like nobody is completely free and they're not showing the real truth. Okay. And that's why they don't focus on the real stuff. Do you agree with this or no?
What is the real stuff?
I don't know. I'm just saying that like, if you look at most of the independent social media journalists, if that's the word, they claim this. And that's the reason they would never want to join.
I'll tell you something. So I have not studied marketing, but I have read this somewhere and I found it very interesting. उसमें बताते हैं कि एक तो stated preference होती है और एक revealed preference होती है. Do you know this concept?
No. Okay, go ahead.
So if you ask anyone in a room, what would you like to eat? Do you eat healthy? They will say, yes, I like to eat a salad. That is the stated preference. But given an opportunity, they will reach for a burger or a chola kulcha. That is the revealed preference. So the stated preference of everybody is that I want to watch good content, meaningful stories. But it's a fact that more people in the world are watching cat videos than anything else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Cat videos तो नहीं चला रहे हम. कोई और ही बना रहा है ना. So this is what you want to watch? So it's not, the media has its flaws. But media is only one part of the story. At the end of the day, we have to stay afloat. We want the views, we want the numbers, we want the revenue. And if this is our consumer, then we have to, I think, make some tough choices ki how far will I push and how much can I go down this road while maintaining some dignity but also generating revenue. That's a real challenge.
That's a question. That's I think a question not only for you but for us as well. For everybody who's in the business.
For everyone, right?
Where you're constantly trying to balance between views and value.
And everyone wants to believe कि मैं तो बहुत अच्छा चीज़ देखना चाहता हूँ. I want value for time. पर आप देख क्या रहे हैं?
हाँ देखता तो
सब वही कर रहे हैं.
हाँ dog videos,
cat videos, monkey videos.
Yeah.
So how is that meaningful content?
Interesting take to this. Okay. Now, do you feel that government should play an active role in this? Because if I was reading about this, कि चाइना में क्या होता है? चाइना में टिकटॉक पे जो 18 ईयर ओल्ड के कम एज के बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, उनको एक सर्टन टाइम तक सिर्फ पॉजिटिव कंटेंट ही दिखता है. उनको एंटरटेनिंग कंटेंट एक टाइम होता है, मे बी 7 बजे 8 बजे, आई डोंट नो व्हाट दैट टाइम इज़, बट उसके बाद ही उनको एंटरटेनमेंट कंटेंट दिखता है. उसके पहले उनके अकाउंट पे सिर्फ और सिर्फ उन्हें पॉजिटिव कंटेंट दिखेगा. इट विल बी वीडियोज़ अबाउट फाइनेंस, एजुकेशन, न्यू हैक्स, साइंस वीडियोज़, सब इसके बारे में ही होगा. पॉजिटिव न्यूज़ अराउंड द वर्ल्ड. उनको सिर्फ और सिर्फ एजुकेटेड कंटेंट ही दिखेगा. सो डू यू थिंक दैट इज़ समथिंग विच वी शुड डू?
No. China is a police state. You should not. No, you cannot dictate to people what they should watch or how they should watch it. I don't think the state should be involved in this. The job of the state is to make rules, make laws that respect your freedom of expression and your freedom of choice. And I think we are in a very good place in India in that sense. There are all kinds of platforms, all kinds of voices. And they exist. They get trolled, they get targeted, there are all sorts of actions and reactions happening. But it's a fact that there is space for all kinds of voices. And there is all kinds of content that is there for you to see if you wish to see it.
But then how do you make people watch good content?
I don't think you can decide that for anyone.
Okay.
No. I think that's for people to decide. The way to do it, I think, is to raise awareness, to raise... and honestly, I believe that if it's really good... See, the onus is never on the viewer to watch you. The onus is on you and me to make sure that we are creating something that is worth their time and interest. What will pull them away from that cat video to watch something that explains the economic crisis in Sri Lanka?
And what will pull them? Like, give me an example. Like, how do you think? See, it's you and me. We agree to this fact that every young person, India has the largest young population in the world right now, and every young person needs to upgrade themselves. And just look at the content which can help them, or maybe which can make them understand what's going on around the world, the impact it's going to have them on their lives. And what are the opportunities behind all the mess, or maybe all the opportunities which are going on in the world. So everybody should be aware about what's going on. That's a fact. But still people, and everybody knows this, still they're not watching. Okay. So what should we do so that people start consuming this content?
Make better content. You can take the horse to water. You cannot make it drink it. The horse has to want to drink it. Right? Okay. You can't force. I mean, I'm sure you don't have children. I have children. You can make them sit with one book, but they will read and take the message from that book only when they want to.
Yeah.
So you can't force anyone now.
True, I was that kid.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't force, and I don't think a government or anyone should force. I think it's our job to. I'll give you an example. See, last year when the Ukraine war broke out, in one of our meetings we were discussing, and I said, we have to tell our viewers, why does Putin want Ukraine? Why is he doing all of this? Let's explain that.
Okay.
And we made a 10-minute video, which was mostly historical context. I think it was one of the most watched videos in the world on the Ukraine war. I have not checked in a while, but the last time I checked, it had 2.5 crore views.
Sweet.
Right? And that's history and that's geopolitics. No dance, no cats, no dogs, no monkeys, nothing. You have to offer people the right thing at the right time in a way that they can access. आप बहुत कॉम्प्लिकेटेड उसको बना देंगे तो आपको ही आपकी बात नहीं समझ में आएगी, दर्शक को तो वो क्यों देखेगा? मतलब they are under no obligation.
No, fair. I'm just thinking कैसा होता है क्या कि मुझे right time पे right content और तो मैं देखूंगा and I think it doesn't matter कि मुझे cat video dog video घुमा
so now there's talk of China, the COVID resurgence in China. Everyone wants to know यहाँ भी आएगा क्या? कि हम plans बनाएं इस summer के कि नहीं बनाएं? It's a very valid basic question. Are you being able to answer it? If you don't have the answers, are you being able to talk to 10 experts and say, okay, this is a possibility and this is not a possibility? These are very simple things. I think news also, not just news in the content business, we have to understand the pulse of the people. I'm not saying always give them what they want. We have a moral responsibility to make them think, to educate, to also speak about topics that people are not comfortable with. But you have to do it in a way that you are engaging with the audience, not talking down to them, not thinking of them as fools. You know, this whole dumbing down TVs and idiot box is a very bad place to start from.
So how will you build your personal brand? So for example, you are there, you're putting a show together and you're always just stating the facts and the news which is going around in the world. Okay? But you are doing it and there has to be a certain level of trust and something which people, out of 10 news channels, why should I watch you, right? So now you are just at a mercy of what goes wrong in the world. So you're waiting कि next time my next news will be only when something goes wrong in the world.
No, it's not
like it's
that.
not like an evergreen content or evergreen thing which you're pushing out so that there's a reason for people to come back to you.
People come back to you for a lot of things. It is a fact that when a big event happens, news viewership goes up because new viewers are coming to just to snack and see what is happening.
Yeah.
And then there are people who are your regular viewers. And this is something I've said in the past and I truly believe it. The concept of katha and kathakar. बच्चे होते हैं, बच्चे कहानी सुनने आते हैं रात को सोने से पहले और एक ही कहानी बार बार सुनना चाहते हैं. उनको प्लॉट भी पता होता है, उनको डायलॉग भी पता होता है, उनको एंड भी पता होता है. Why do they listen to the same story? Because they're not coming for the katha, they're coming for the kathakar.
Storytelling.
There is a joy in the way something is told or presented. They're coming for that joy and that experience. Are you being able to give that? Are you being able to create a differentiator? Like I told you earlier, we have 400 news channels. And if all of us are doing the same thing, like that song, 9 Inch Nails, I don't know if you listen to it. I'm just a copy of a copy of a copy. We're all copies of each other. So why should I watch it?
Yeah.
And more importantly, then why should I pay for it? Because everyone else is doing the same thing.
Yep.
So then we are creating a business model that's not viable because we are just not experimenting or giving something that's unique.
Okay. So let's talk about the kathakar, the storyteller. Okay. So tell me what do you keep in mind that a storyteller should do this in order to hook the audience? Is there a structure to it? Is there a framework to it?
Yeah.
Like, how do you approach a particular story? I give you plain news कि चलो पुतिन को यूक्रेन चाहिए क्यों? And then now, how do you approach it? What's the process?
I think of my children and the questions they will ask.
Acha, okay.
And every time you answer something, then they'll say, but why? But why did this happen? But who is this? So you have to, until you've answered all of these whys and whos and whats and wheres, your story is not complete. So my only brief to the writer is that every time you write a sentence, imagine what are the questions it will trigger in the mind of your viewer and answer those questions in the subsequent sentences. If you're doing that, then it's a complete story. Otherwise, it's not. It's not as complicated as it sounds.
An individual, as a news person, as a storyteller, what are you interested in? Like, what are the topics of interest for you?
Geopolitics is something I'm very deeply interested in.
Okay.
See, for a country that has been an independent nation for more than 7 decades, which has been forever trying to find a seat at the United Nations Security Council, permanent seat, it really raises the stature. And it's about time we had these things. Right? We are 1.4 billion, a sizable chunk of the world population.
Yeah.
We need a voice.
Yep.
And we need the right representation. So this is a great time to be, I think, a content creator also, because we need to send out the right story. We need to create the right image. Another subject that interests me a lot is the concept of soft power.
Okay.
So there is hard power that the military wields.
Okay.
And then there is soft power.
That is culture power.
That is culture.
Information,
culture, all sorts of things. Yoga, Bollywood, right? Anywhere you go in the world, you meet a taxi driver, he says Indian, there is a very good chance that he will play a Bollywood song for you.
He'll say Shah Rukh Khan.
Yeah, Shah Rukh
That's
Khan or
big.
Amitabh Bachchan or something like that. That is soft power.
Okay.
So it is the ability to shape preferences and attitudes without applying force. So if you're wearing a hoodie or Adidas shoes, it is the soft power of an American brand that you want to be seen in that,
True.
So that is soft power. So I think India has had tremendous soft power when we started. I don't know if I'm boring you, but this is
go ahead,
it's a very interesting subject.
Yeah.
Independence के समय हम ना तो economically बहुत strong थे, ना militarily बहुत strong थे. पर we were अहिंसा से हमने one of the biggest militaries, one of the biggest powers in the world, Britain, उसको अपने देश से निकाल दिया. और उसके बाद और ऐसे जो देश थे जो कॉलोनीज बने हुए थे, उनके हम एक तरह से representative बन गए. It was the brightest moment for our soft power, that a country which was struggling on so many levels was still seen as a force to reckon with, was still seen as an important player in global affairs.
Because of the way we were dealing with
our civilizational richness and the message that we had for the world. Non-violence. Or whatever, the diversity. I mean, आज के ज़माने में diversity is a corporate buzzword.
Yeah.
But we aced it 70 years back.
Interesting.
So these are subjects that interest me, and these are subjects that I think we should all pay attention to. Every time we go out of this country, we are all brand ambassadors of India.
Yeah.
And we create an image of India. So we need to understand where we stand. We need to sometimes fix our own preconceptions about ourselves. कि हम तो कोडिंग कुलीज ही रहेंगे, हम लीड नहीं कर सकते. ऐसा नहीं है, इतने सारे स्टार्टअप्स तो हैं. We need to take a chance.
Yeah.
So I think these are the subjects that I want to focus on.
This is what like pumps you. Okay.
It really excites me.
Okay, so
these
let's talk about soft power. Okay,
Yeah.
like I used to like it at some point.
Okay.
I kind of lost my learnings, or maybe just reading the hang of it, because I got too much into startups. So I used to love that, and I found out that any country who has to become a world power, okay, they have to become world power in 3 ways. So one is your military power, that is like you need to have
Hard
the best
power.
hard power, right? Second is they need to have economic power, that's a financial power which you need in the world, that you have enough money to sustain, that the world is dependent on you. And third is the culture power, the soft power which you talk about. And that's where America aced it. And that is one of the biggest reasons why Chinese have not been able to become like the world power, because they're good with the first two. Their culture power is not yet seen around the world. So America, if you see, their food has become the food choice for the world. The way they dress has become the choice of the world. The way their brands have become synonyms for XYZ things. Let's say Starbucks or Tesla or Coca-Cola. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like there are multiple things, right? So they've always aced that. And India is now on that verge where we are trying to do that with our yoga. But do you think, is there anything else that India can actually achieve the cultural power as well?
Oh, absolutely.
How can we do that? Like, what are the things?
अब क्या है, पहले सॉफ्ट पावर जोसेफ नाय ने पहले यूज किया था ये शब्द, और उसके बाद सिंस देन they've started talking about smart power, which is a good mix of soft and hard power.
Okay.
And I think India is completely like in tune with this. So we have yoga. At a time when the world was really suffering, we gave them vaccines and medicines. That is soft power.
Yeah.
Right? Bollywood is definitely there, no matter how much hate it gets on social media. It's unfortunate and they have their own issues, but it's a fact that Bollywood has been... I remember reading somewhere, जब पहली तालिबान सरकार गिरी थी, तो एक Indian minister traveled to Afghanistan with a plane full of, you know what? Tapes of क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी. Because it was a huge hit and people needed relief from whatever they had gone through.
Wow.
Yeah. And in Israel, someone told me that their favorite song is Jimmy Jimmy Aja Aja. All sorts of Bollywood has done great things for us, right? At the same time, when the need arises, we can go into Pakistan and conduct surgical strikes. So that is hard power. So it's a good mix of soft and hard. India is being seen as a potential peacemaker in the conflicts that we see today.
Yep.
So I don't know of many powers of India's stature. हम Quad में भी जाते हैं. Quad is India, US, Australia, and Japan is alliance.
Okay.
It's seen as anti-China. और हम SCO में भी जाते हैं, जिसमें रशिया, चाइना, इंडिया और कुछ और देश हैं. हम दोनों के मेंबर्स हैं. और हम 2 महीने के अंतराल में दोनों समिट्स अटेंड भी कर लेते हैं. हम रशिया से तेल भी खरीद लेते हैं. हम ये भी कह देते हैं कि वॉर नहीं होना चाहिए. वी आर डूइंग एवरीथिंग. इट्स द बेस्ट प्लेस टू बी इन.
We're the smartest power right now.
Smartest? Oh, we are just, I think,
One of
playing
the
our card
smartest,
right. And lots of things are falling in place for us. We have challenges, but yeah.
But do you think like India has a potential to become world power one day?
Oh, yes.
How? Like, because, so I'll tell you, okay, there's somewhere I was reading कि पहले ना लोग करते थे इकोनॉमिक कॉलोनाइजेशन होता था, ओके, जिसकी वजह से वर्ल्ड पावर बनते थे. सो पहले जैसे ब्रिटेन ने किया, राइट, देन उसके बाद अब यूएस ने किया, दैट दे गिव सो मच डेट टू पीपल दैट दे कांट रीपे. नाउ चाइना इज डूइंग द सेम थिंग, दैट दे हैव गिवन डेट टू 33-40 नेशंस दैट दे कांट रीपे. सो दैट्स एन इकोनॉमिक कॉलोनाइजेशन कि तुम दूसरे देशों को पैसा दो, पैसा इतना दे दो और धीरे धीरे जाके उनके पोर्ट्स, उनके एयरपोर्ट्स और सब ए करके कैप्चर करने लग जाओ, सो दैट यू कैन कंट्रोल देयर सीट्स एंड देयर वॉइसेस इन द वर्ल्ड. That I think that happened in UN voting system as well when China and Taiwan thing happened. कि जितनी देशों को चाइना ने ज़्यादा पैसा दे रखा था, they all got into China's favor, right? That's economic colonization. So US is losing the battle in that. But there's a counter to that. लोग बोल रहे थे कि economic colonization पुरानी strategy है. अब वो US को कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता क्योंकि नई strategy है data colonization. कि पूरा वर्ल्ड का जो डेटा है वो US कंट्रोल करता है. एंड वो जब लोगों को आज पैसे ज़्यादा डेटा पे आ रहा है, तो इसकी वजह से US कैन ऑलवेज बिकम वर्ल्ड पावर. नो अदर कंट्री कैन एवर टच दैम. डू यू बिलीव इन दिस? बिकॉज इंडिया के पास तो ना इकोनॉमिक कॉलोनाइजेशन पावर है, ना अभी डेटा कॉलोनाइजेशन पावर है.
देखिए, पावर एक्वायर करने के और एग्जर्ट करने के 1-2 लिमिटेड वो नहीं है.
Okay.
बहुत, जैसे यूरोप, क्या आप यूरोप को पावर मानते हैं? सारी दुनिया की संधियाँ यूरोप में होती हैं, सारे पीस टॉक्स यूरोप में होते हैं. सबसे बड़े वॉर्स यूरोप में लड़ गए हैं, वर्ल्ड वॉर 1 और वर्ल्ड वॉर 2. हाउ आर दे द पीपल टू टेल एवरीबडी एल्स हाउ टू? Europe is called a normative power. They have created norms and systems which they have convinced the world are the best. And so they will tell you how you should conduct your affairs. They will tell you whether you have transparency in your system or not. They will tell you whether you're liberal or not. They will tell you what kind of freedom do your citizens enjoy. उनको किसने मठाधीश बना दिया? उनके पास ना मिलिट्री है, उनके पास ना इकोनॉमिक पावर है. So there are lots of ways to and we have to find our own formula to be a power. I think India is definitely, so there is a concept of middle powers. There are superpowers and the middle powers, and we can bracket it in whichever way we want to. But it's a fact that, and I think India's biggest strength, and it should be, we have to do a lot of work in this direction, is the fact that we are the talent factory.
Yeah.
We are a huge talent pool. And we need to be able to exploit it in a good way, like harness it is the better word. We have, our geography is a challenge, but it's also an opportunity. So we'll have to figure out our own way. We can't be throwing checkbooks at other countries like the Chinese do.
Yeah.
And we are not the kind of nation, it is not in our strategic culture to intervene. I think the West has given itself the right to intervene everywhere and then justify. They created the United Nations. Then when it does not suit them, they don't even need the UN sanction. They make some other separate coalition and enter a country and say, okay, we are bringing democracy. We don't do that. We don't intervene. That's not who we are.
What is the one thing which you feel we're doing absolutely right? And what is one thing which you feel that we should work on right now as a country? In terms
what
of
are we doing absolutely
our
right?
way to become the biggest economy in the world.
For young people?
For as a country, because we're saying that India का time आ गया, अब India कोई रोक नहीं सकता, right? This is the narration going on. The world is looking towards us. सब हर कोई देख रहा है. So what do you think we're doing right, and what do you think that we are doing?
What we're doing right is that we are standing our ground. We refuse to be lectured by anybody else. I think it's taken a long time for us to stand up and say, boss, ये है, हमको ऐसे ही करना है. So the next time an American newspaper says, oh, it's not safe to come to India. I mean, look at what's happening in the US. A 6-year-old shot his teacher. 6-year-old. Why does हम तो 6 साल के बच्चे को चाकू नहीं देते. उन्होंने बंदूक दे दी. So I'm sorry, before you talk about how safe it is to travel to India, look at what's happening in the US. I think 15 years back, 10 years back, we would not have said this. Now we are saying it. So to be comfortable with who you are and to be able to
stand.
Yeah, take pride in who you are is a like, it's taken a while, but
yeah. That's something going very wrong. And where can we work on? Like, what do you think India needs to work on?
What do we need to work on? I think we have a lot of energy and talent that needs to be channelized. ये जो पूरी जनरेशन कर रही है, थोड़ा कम करना पड़ेगा. ये करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं यार, ऐसे मत करो. हमें सुनो, हम अच्छी बातें करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. ऐसे देखो, लेकिन just go to Raj Shamani channel and then
go to Raj Shamani by all means. I'm just saying that people need to, data is the cheapest in India, among the cheapest in the world. But we need to make the best use of it. We have to just, क्या है, कुछ फिर मिलता नहीं है. फिर I know it's very controversial. फिर वो सब लोग जाके कहते हैं कि फलानी उसकी परीक्षा नहीं हुई. तो तुम सरकारी नौकरी, इतनी सारी नौकरियां हैं, इतना सारा काम है, but you want to 5 lakh people want to sit for a job which has 3,000 vacancies. Then you say there aren't enough jobs, but hello,
there are.
We need to take our lives.
That's true.
Seriously,
I absolutely believe in this, and with all means I'm a true believer कि अब इंडिया को ना कोई रोक ही नहीं सकता. That's for sure. कि कोई नहीं रोक सकता, because सब चीज़ें हमारे फेवर में. स्मार्टफोन पेनिट्रेशन पूरे वर्ल्ड में अब स्मार्टफोन एक सैचुरेशन पॉइंट पे पहुंच चुका है. इंडिया में आधी पॉपुलेशन का स्मार्टफोन है ही नहीं अभी तक, राइट? सो दैट इज़ ग्रोइंग. फिर एज, पूरे वर्ल्ड में एक लोग जहाँ पे बूढ़े लोग ज़्यादा हैं, यंग लोग कम है. इंडिया ही ऐसी कंट्री जहाँ पे यंग लोग ज़्यादा हैं, बूढ़े लोग कम है. देन कैपिटल, पूरे वर्ल्ड को कहीं और कैपिटल लगाना चाइना से लोगों ने बंद कर दिया है. अफ्रीका के अपने खुद कॉम्प्लिकेशंस है, सिर्फ इंडिया है जहाँ पे पैसा भी लग रहा है. सो वी हैव द वर्ल्ड अटेंशन. देन पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी, अभी बहुत टाइम बाद ऐसा हुआ है इंडिया में जहाँ पे एक स्टेबल बहुत टाइम तक एक डेमोक्रेसी बनी है, राइट? सो सब चीज़ें हमारे फेवर में. and अब कोई रोक नहीं सकता. It's like time is there. But how fast do we get there only depends on how fast our talent upskills themselves. Because the way you said it, that's so true कि there are endless jobs, there are endless opportunities, but लोग है ना एक ऐसे वो straight forward उसमें जा रहे हैं कि बस यही एक तरीका है. They're not looking beyond and they're not ready to upskill themselves to learn new things. So I was reading about an industry which is India, but still the biggest vacancy and सबसे ज़्यादा money making opportunity in jobs is there, and that is agriculture. So there was a study that India has explored 180 new ways to do agriculture. 180 ways, and I don't know kitna true hai kitna false hai, but that was the study which was going on, and this was done by Israeli some research center. India has found 180 new ways to do agriculture and increase their output, like and 3x their output by sustainable means. लेकिन उन ways को करने के लिए लोगों को सीखना ही नहीं है.
When you bring reform, you know what happens. No? You saw the protest. So people, the first instinct is कि हमारा तो ज़मीन ले लेंगे या हमारा कुछ ले लेंगे. तो डिस्ट्रस्ट भी मेरे ख्याल से जाना पड़ेगा. देर आर वेस्टेड इंटरेस्ट, देर आर पॉलिटिकल फैक्टर्स, बहुत सारी चीज़ें होती हैं. आई थिंक
व्हाट इज न्यू इंडिया अकॉर्डिंग टू यू?
यू आर न्यू इंडिया. यू टेल मी, what is it that people care about? Do they care about one person telling us this is what BJP said, this is what Congress said, this is what Aam Aadmi Party said, and now let's open the floor?
No, we
for
care
three
about
spokespersons.
I genuinely in one line, if I can tell you, we care about to main kya karu.
To main kya karu. Exactly.
Why should I care?
But yes, but I think this is a show for anyone who thinks of himself or herself as a global citizen, an individual who believes that this is a world that is interconnected. If there is an ash cloud in some part of Ireland, it may affect your travel plans in New Delhi. It happened in 2009.
Yeah.
I've been too young. It is sort of, yeah. So things, what is happening anywhere else can impact your life.
See, that's what we care about.
Right?
Like, why should I care about this?
So
thing?
I am telling you why you should care about. I am helping you connect the dots and see why one statement from China about Taiwan has sent semiconductor prices shooting up, and so your gadgets, your laptop that you were eyeing for maybe Holi is going to cost more.
Yeah.
Because some Chinese minister said something. For example,
I
so I'm trying to connect the dots for you and help you make sense of the world around so that you can take informed decisions. Rishi Sunak.
Okay. UK PM. हमें क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है उससे?
हमें क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है? ऋषि सुनाक UK PM बना, सब लोगों ने इतना वो हो, another Indian, my God, this lady Kamala Harris became. What has changed? Has anything changed in the relationship? So beyond the
Bubble.
Sort of, or all the noise that is being made, I'm trying to say that this is what Rishi Sunak brings to the table. This is what Kamala Harris is about. These are her policies. This is how much engagement she's had with the Indian community. Indians make up this % of the population, voting population in the US. And so it was important for her to woo them. And so it was a good, like, she, so on and so forth. And this is why an Indian becoming the vice president of the US is going to make no difference to your life. Stop celebrating. Just like Sunita Williams going to space was great. I mean, whatever she did was great for her. But we should stop behaving like poor country cousins who are saying, oh, dekho, hamara jankar hai, wo wahan ja raha hai. But I don't know if I've been able to answer your question.
No, it makes sense. India, actually, we love celebrating so we love vaccinating ourselves with someone who's achieved something more. So that's what happens in our community since the beginning. We've been seeing this. यार मेरा जो चाचा का लड़का है ना वो ये करता है, भले कोई चाचा भी नहीं, तुम्हारा कुछ नहीं है, और हमारी कम्युनिटी का लड़का क्रिकेट खेल रहा है, हमारी इधर का लड़का ये कर रहा है, लड़की ऐसा कर रही है, उसने ऐसा किया, right? All of these things, we love associating ourselves with someone who has achieved something. So we love that credibility by association,
right?
Because you feel that your own identity is not credible enough, so you want that credibility by association. That's why we celebrate around the world. Like, nobody's talking about what a new CEO in a big corporate in India is changing, what we're talking about a new Indian origin CEO of some large company is doing, right? Because we feel कि oh Starbucks ज़्यादा known है तो मैं Starbucks की बात करूँगा versus I don't know India में let me give you an example कि इंडिया में टाटा की एक छोटी सी कोई दूसरी कंपनी टाटा स्टील में कुछ हो रहा है तो मैं उसके बारे में नहीं बात करूँगा क्योंकि Starbucks worldwide is more relevant than Tata Steel to me in this pop culture relevance. What is different in Indians? Like what kind of content we consume differently? Is it like, are we more emotional? What's there? Like what moves Indian?
I'm not sure I can tell you what in terms of...
What have you noticed about India which you feel is about Indian specifically or Indian mindset or psychology?
Okay, for a news consumer, I can tell you, I think Indian consumers are more evolved and in tune with what's happening in the world than a lot of others. There have been a lot of studies that say that Western developed economies, people tend to be more inward looking. It doesn't affect them what's happening in, say, a Somalia, or it's not their problem. But people in the developing world are impacted by what's happening around them. And so they are more aware. They make it their business to know what's happening. So we have a more, what shall I say, engaged audience, if you can get their attention.
Oh, that's a new thing. I didn't expect it. कैसे Indians are more well versed.
Absolutely. आप अब नीचे जाके किसी चाय की दुकान पे बात करना किसी से, they will tell you everything. You can pick up any topic. You can talk about China. You can talk about Ukraine. You can talk about Maharashtra politics. They will tell you. They're 2 bits.
What is that one thing which you feel the world should know and something you found super fascinating? And you feel कि यार ये मुझे जब पता चला था बहुत crazy हुआ था. Maybe an insight or a story or something experienced. So I'll give you one. Okay. So how I found out something super interesting, and that was कि US and India में, you know, jersey sales क्यों different होती है? So if you look at Western world, US, UK, their football jerseys or the NBA, all this इसका बहुत बड़ा market है, right? India में fandom is even stronger when it comes to cricket. Still, वो jerseys नहीं sell होती, right? So the larger part of this was that US is like Western world is an individualistic society. India is a community-driven society. So individualistic society में क्या होता है? Everybody is individual. So they want reasons to come together and feel as one. So that's why they find obvious reasons कि okay, हम लोग एक club के part हैं, हम लोग एक city के part हैं, हम लोग एक basketball या maybe किसी artist के fan club के part हैं, right? They feel joy when they walk in a club and 5 people are wearing, let's say, Manchester United की t-shirt. They all connect very well, right? India में, because we all are community-driven already. We already know कि हम जैन हैं, हम पंजाबी हैं, हम सिंधी हैं, हम ये हैं, हम गुजराती हैं, right? Your community needs are getting fulfilled. So all you want is to stand out. So that's why you never wear things out there in public which makes you one. And to me that was fascinating. Ki you would never walk in a club and you'll feel happy when 5 people are wearing the same thing. You always want to stand out. Right? Maybe a club or a shopping center or like just mall, anywhere, right? So this was a fascinating कि US की merch sales हर category में, whether it's artist, whether it's actor, whether it's musician or a football club or a basketball club, उन सब की sales ज़्यादा है versus India. India में किसी की भी fandom इतना नहीं है जहाँ पे सब लोग आते हैं.
Okay, so you want me to tell you a story like that? So this is from the Mahabharata. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. It's about narrative building and how when you take the moral high ground and when you set the rules of the game, that no matter what you do, you come out on top. So the Pandavas, everyone wanted them to win, right? And they said they're fighting for dharma and they're fighting for... They bet their wife in a game. How is that morally justifiable? They used all the tricks possible to win the war that they were supposed to win. And yet they justified everything. कि कृष्ण उनके साथ थे और ये भी कर लो, ऐसे भी सब कुछ किया उन्होंने. और वो जीत भी गए. और वो they remained the good guys. How do you do that? When you set the narrative. When you're in control of the story, then you can do that.
Yeah.
And I come back, that's where the media comes in. That's where all of us come in. That this is a time when we are shaping the narrative for our country. And we have to be very mindful of what we say, how we say, because,
Damn.
yeah.
Spot on. When you set the narrative, you turn around everything.
You do.
It's in your hand whether it's right or wrong, because
I'm not saying do it in a way that
yeah,
this has got nothing to
get
do
it.
with any political affiliation or none of that. What are you doing for your society or your country? There are many Indias. There is an India which is very developed, and there is an India which is chol. Both Indias coexist. But are you only going to show the poverty all the time? Or are you also going to show the success stories?
fair. It's time we bring out both the sides of the stories on the table.
Yeah.
Now, thanks for coming here. Thanks for doing this. Thank you so much ये एपिसोड एंड तक देखने के लिए. प्लीज़ हमें कमेंट्स में बताओ कि क्या आपको आज का टॉपिक अच्छा लगा, क्या ऐसे टॉपिक्स पे हम और बात करें, और कौन से ऐसे गेस्ट हैं जो आप देखना चाहते हो जिनको हम अगली बार लेके आएँ. प्लीज़ जाने से पहले लाइक, कमेंट, शेयर, सब्सक्राइब एंड किसी एक इंसान को बताओ इस पॉडकास्ट के बारे में जिसको इस पॉडकास्ट से कोई आइडिया आएगा या उसका वर्ल्ड का नॉलेज बढ़ेगा. बिकॉज एक कॉन्वर्जेशन कैन गिव यू सो मेनी आइडियाज़ एंड वन आइडिया विल बी इनफ फॉर यू टू चेंज योर लाइफ and achieve your Indian dream. Until the next episode, keep figuring out.